Hello friends, you're watching NFL Daily presented by BetDSI. I am your host Tom Downey. As promised, it's time for my latest NFL mock draft, and we're featuring trades this time by request. I got a bunch of trades in here. Some of you are going to love them, some of you are going to hate it. As always, direct all your hate to me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney. We're going to have 6 individual trades in this mock draft, which is right in line with what's actually happened in recent years. 10 in 2018, believe it or not, then 8 and 8, 3, and then only 5 in 2015 and 2014. Now, in general, we're doing a little bit less value. In the end, it's all kind of a guessing game when it comes to the trade value of picks here. We'll start things off at number 1, where the Cardinals get a little bit less value for the number 1 overall pick in a trade with the Oakland Raiders. Raiders move up. I think you know who they're going to pick. Cardinals get number 4 overall, number 27 overall, and a 4th round pick. Now, historically, the difference between number 1 and number 4 is normally worth a little bit more. But in this case, Cardinals take less value because they want the extra draft picks. And in a class that really doesn't have an Andrew Luck, a Robert Griffin, a Baker Mayfield, even a Sam Darnold, at least how the NFL viewed him, the value of number 1 isn't as high as it's been in recent years. But for the Raiders, they go to number 1 and they get Nick Bosa, the edge rusher from Ohio State. It's exactly what they need. They trade up, they get that elite edge rusher because they desperately need one. At number 4, if they stand pat, there's a real chance they miss out on Nick Bosa and Josh Allen, and they're left in the tier 2 range of edge rushers. The Cardinals trade down, they get that number 27 overall pick. They can still get an impact player at number 4, of course, and they'll throw in a 4th round pick as well, which should be around top 100 for the Cardinals there. So 3 top 100 picks or so, and the Raiders get that number 1 overall pick. Now, I know some Raider fans don't want to move up, so I ask you guys, should Oakland trade up for Nick Bosa? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Cardinals also get the added benefit of making sure their division rival does not get Bosa. So Bosa goes off the board at number 1, and that leaves the Niners at number 2. I've got them taking Josh Allen. Look, I know that Quinnen Williams is probably a better player than Josh Allen. At least he is on my board, which we'll publish for you guys here in the coming days. But the Niners need an edge rusher. They don't need a 4th defensive tackle. They have DeForest Buckner, they have Solomon Thomas, they have Eric Armstead for now. You can't play all 4 of those guys at once. You can barely play 3 of them. So they get Josh Allen, they get that edge rusher. By the way, the Niners could also look to trade down. I almost had a trade for them as well. But instead, I had the number 3 team trade down. That is the New York Jets. They slide back with the Jacksonville Jaguars. They get the number 38 overall pick, a 2nd round selection. Again, a little bit less value, but I don't know if you're going to have the massive blockbuster trades we've seen in the past for players like Robert Griffin III. So the Jags move up. Well, of course, they're going quarterback here, right? I've got them taking Dwayne Haskins. They need a franchise quarterback. Jags move up. They secure the first quarterback off the board. And I know that there's some, oh, he's Ohio State. They can't develop quarterbacks. Don't scout the helmet. Scout the player. Haskins has the ability to be a franchise quarterback, even though overall I'm not really in love with any of these franchise quarterbacks or these quarterback draft prospects this year, but I think you'll see Haskins end up being the first one off the board. Now remember, number 4 pick belongs to the Raiders for now. I predicted a trade here. So the Arizona Cardinals, they stand pat at number 4, and they end up getting a fantastic player in Quinnen Williams, who I think there's a chance they take him number 1 overall. So from the Cardinals' perspective, that is a massive win for them. They trade down, they get an impact player, one of the 2 best guys in this year's class. They move down, get that elite player. He had a great year this year. He was a freak for Alabama. I thought it was going to be Raekwon Davis that broke out. Ended up being Quinnen instead. Now the Bucs have the number 5 overall pick, but let's keep getting crazy. Again, at me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney if you don't like my trades. Let's have them move down again to acquire extra draft picks. The Redskins, they go up. Of course, they're targeting quarterback here. Maybe just a little bit less value here for the Redskins. It's not going to be an RG3 haul, but they give up their 2nd round pick, number 46 overall, their 3rd round pick, number 77 overall, and they still, in theory, should get a comp pick in round 3, so they're playing with a little bit of house money there. The Redskins don't have an answer at quarterback. Maybe they go trade for a veteran. Instead, they move up and they get Kyler Murray. And I know, Redskins fans, I hear you right now. You're triggered because I've given you a mobile quarterback that you trade up for. And you got scared by Robert Griffin III. I understand your fears there, and Kyler Murray's even smaller than RG3, but he's dangerous. And if he commits to football fully, which I think he has now, I think there's a lot of upside there. I think his ceiling is higher than Dwayne Haskins. Now, the size is going to be a problem there, but he's accurate, has a strong arm, can run. If he can avoid the hits, I think he'll be potentially a very good player in the NFL. And if you're the Redskins, you have to win now, because otherwise your coaching staff is not going to be there. Your front office might not be there either. So I can see them being aggressive and going out and getting someone like Kyler Murray. We'll get to the rest of the top 10 here, but first, today's show is brought to you by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. Head over to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code LIVE120 for a 120% deposit bonus. You put down $50, they're going to give you $60 for free. Put down $100, and that bonus becomes 120%. That's the best betting deal out there, chatsports.com/bet. Now, if you didn't like my last trade, you'll probably hate this one. I can already hear Broncos fans yelling at me. Giants trade down from number 10 to number 6. They get a 3rd-round pick and a 5th-round pick. Almost exactly, by the way, what the Cardinals give up to move up to get Josh Rosen. A little bit higher draft capital, but again, it wasn't the same quarterback class. And yes, Denver, I'm still going to mock you a quarterback. I know you traded for Joe Flacco. I don't care. Joe Flacco ain't it. He is not the franchise quarterback for Denver. And by the way, we just saw the Browns do something very similar. Traded an even higher draft pick, a high 3rd, for Tyrod Taylor, and still spent the number 1 overall pick on a quarterback in Baker Mayfield. We saw the Cardinals throw money at Sam Bradford and then trade up for Josh Rosen. Now I got Denver moving up for Drew Lock. The addition of Flacco does not stop Denver from drafting a quarterback. Now, yes, it kind of thins out your draft capital because you have a 4th. You still, though, have an extra 4th and an extra 5th from other trades. So in reality, you're only giving up a 3rd-round pick based on your original draft capital. I think Drew Lock is a guy that John Elway likes quite a bit. Now, maybe Denver doesn't do it and they focus on defensive end or not defensive, or on the secondary, linebacker, cornerback. That's all reasonable. But Flacco's not it, guys. He's not a franchise quarterback. He hasn't been for several years. So how many games will Joe Flacco start for the Denver Broncos in 2019? Even if you bring in Drew Lock, might be good to give him a year to kind of learn and work on his footwork as well. The Jags are next up. Remember, they traded down with the New York Jets here for an extra 2nd-round pick. So the Jets are sitting here at number 7 overall. Let's give them Rashawn Gary, who I think is going to be best as a 3 technique, but he's going to blow up the combine, going to run really, really fast, going to measure well. Someone's going to give him a shot as an edge rusher. Now, the team like the Jets could actually be a decent fit there. An attacking 4-3 scheme under Greg Williams. He can kick inside on passing downs. That's okay. The production was not great at Michigan for Rashawn Gary. And you're projecting here, as all NFL teams do, but they love traits. And Rashawn Gary has all kinds of traits. The Lions are next up, and you guys didn't like when I mocked you TJ Hawkinson. Well, others are now doing it, but I'm still going to be nice to you Lions fans because I know you're triggered by a tight end in the 1st round. I understand why. How about a pass rusher? I suddenly feel like I'm actually higher than most on Brian Burns, which is not what I thought was going to end up happening. But he's long, he's lean, and he's fast. Needs to add more weight, but the Lions need a legit edge rusher. I think Brian Burns can be that. I like Cleveland Ferrell more, but I think the NFL is going to be a little bit higher on Burns, who I think is going to measure very well at the NFL Combine. Number 9, the Buffalo Bills. The Jonah Williams hate is weird to me because, he's got short arms. He should play guard, which I think the NFL values way too much. The NFL is desperate for tackles, and they've got one that for 3 years was really good at Alabama. And even for the Bills, if he's not a left tackle, if he wants to be a right tackle or a guard, you can find a spot to play him. So I think this is a good fit for Buffalo. By the way, I mentioned TJ Hawkinson. I think he's also an option here for Buffalo with Charles Clay out. Let's get Josh Allen, an actual playmaker on offense, who's not named LaShawn McCoy. So Giants up now, number 10 overall after that trade to pick up an extra 3rd and a 5th-round pick. I thought about quarterback. Stay tuned for that one on the Giants. How about an offensive lineman, Cody Ford? Look, they need offensive line help. I think he's a perfect fit on the right side of the line. Plug him in right now. Make him your right tackle. And focus on your franchise quarterback later because the Giants still seem kind of committed to making Eli Manning try and work out as your quarterback, which isn't the best idea. All right, let's recap then my top 10 picks of my trade-heavy NFL mock draft. Raiders move up for Nick Bosa. Niners take Josh Allen. The Jags move up for Dwayne Haskins. Cardinals trade down, still get Quinnen Williams. The Redskins move up for Kyler Murray. I know I just triggered, Washington fans everywhere. And I trigger Broncos fans by giving them Drew Lock, Rashawn Gary to the Jets, Brian Burns, Jonah Williams, and then Cody Ford. Now, you saw a lot of offensive players go off that because of trades for quarterbacks. That means defensive players should go heavily in the top 10. To number 11 we go, Devin White. I think it's a perfect fit for the Bengals. I'll be honest, I considered them moving up for Kyler Murray, but I think they might need to wait a year. I don't know what defensive scheme the Bengals are going to run because they don't have a DC right now. We'll give him Devin White, who can play multiple roles at linebacker. Position is going to push him down. He'll be a first-round pick. Number 12, TJ Hawkinson. When we publish my NFL pre-combine big board, he is going to be a top 10 player. He might even be top 5. There are very few flaws with Hawkinson. He can play as an inline, can play as a slot receiver, can even play some fullback. That's how Iowa used him. He's a good blocker, soft hands, and a very quality athlete. Sign me up for TJ Hawkinson. I love the fit here for the Green Bay Packers. I think it's an ideal option for Green Bay to bring him in, and in the end, don't worry too much about Jimmy Graham. He's not the same guy that he once was. So I love the idea of Hawkinson in Green Bay. Number 13 we go, the Miami Dolphins. And Ed Oliver, look, somebody good is going to slot, especially if offensive guys go early. So for the Dolphins, in a 4-3 scheme, let's just plug and play Oliver. Now, I'm curious how exactly Brian Flores would use him. He has to run more of a multiple fit, but he can be your 3 technique. The NFL is worried about his size because he's listed at like 6'3", 285. He ain't that big. He's going to be more like 6 foot, 6'1", 275. That's kind of what he played at this year. So I like the idea, though, of Ed Oliver. Get that impact defensive player who's going to be a top 5 guy on my board. Now we're still going through round 1, but how many rounds of the NFL draft do you actually watch? Let me know in the comment section. Are you a round 1 guy only? Are you a round 2, round 3 as well? Or are you a nut like me and you sit down and watch all 7 rounds? If you are, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/chatsportstv. We'll have all 7 rounds of the NFL draft, and we'll let you in on a secret. We have the picks before ESPN and NFL Network do. So if you want to know first, subscribe to us, youtube.com/chatsportstv. It is a trade mock draft. Here's another one. The Houston Texans go up, number 14 overall with the Falcons. Atlanta gets number 23 overall, one of the Texans' 2 second-round picks, and a 5th-round selection. Houston, their biggest need is obvious, offensive line. And Jawan Taylor continues to move up in terms of the media board, which just means we're catching up on what NFL teams feel about him. Mostly played right tackle at Florida. That's fine. Give him a spot somewhere. Houston, at tackle and even some guard spots, they need better players. I don't care about the position. Taylor is the top offensive lineman left on the board. They move up to get him. Atlanta, they trade back down. They can find a DT later on. By the way, if Ed Oliver is on the board for 14 in Atlanta, he has got to be the pick. It makes way too much sense there for the Falcons to put in there. It's just a perfect fit. Now, Redskins have the 15th overall pick, but again, we traded down with them. The Redskins go up to get Kyler Murray. The Bucs get a 2nd and a 3rd-round pick back in exchange. They would have loved Ed Oliver. They probably would have loved maybe even some more defensive players. But let's give them Ja'Kai Polite, who there's some buzz. Maybe isn't the most mature guy out there, but he had a breakout season in 2018, doubled his career sack and tackle for loss production. The Bucs are going to kind of revamp their defense this year. As of right now, they don't really have a lot of great options at the edge rusher spot. They have JPP, and you're going to start Carl Nassib next year. Bust Noah Spence. All bad ideas. Instead, let's get them an impact edge rusher who, isn't the biggest guy, isn't the strongest guy, but he's going to get after the quarterback, and the Bucs need that. At number 15, it's quality value. Number 16, Clelin Ferrell, who I thought about putting him at number 15. I would consider him at number 4 if I'm the Raiders and the top guys go off the board, and Josh Allen, Nick Bosa. And I know he's not the best athlete. The production is great. The first step is elite. I like Clelin Ferrell a lot. If I'm Carolina, you need more pass rush help amid other needs. Lock it in, take the somewhat local guy, and get some more defensive end help. Today's show is brought to you by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code LIVE120 for a 120% deposit bonus. You put down $50, they're going to give you $60 for free. Put down $100, and they're going to give you $120. It's the best deal out there. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code LIVE120. To the Browns at number 17, a fantastic pick here, Greedy Williams. Now, he's got flaws, and I've heard growing buzz about worries about how well he's going to run at the Combine, which, if true, continue my streak. My favorite cornerback in the NFL draft pre-Combine runs poorly. We had Tease Tabor, we had Josh Jackson, maybe Greedy Williams. If true, Greedy, I'm sorry that I cursed you. But just think about Denzel Ward and the big and lanky Greedy Williams on the outside. That's a really good 1-2 punch. I don't know when the first corner will be off the board. There are going to be good defensive players that slide. It could end up being Greedy in this year's class. Number 18, the Minnesota Vikings. I love an offensive lineman on the interior, but who's it going to be? Cody Ford's off the board. I think the other guys, you don't want to take them to go play guard. Too early for Chris Lindstrom. But you're going to lose Anthony Barr, in all likelihood, in free agency. Let's give them a weak side linebacker who is fast, small, but can definitely run. Devin Bush in Minnesota alongside Kendricks. That's a very, very good 1-2 punch. Now, which Michigan player will have the better NFL career? Type RG for Rashawn Gary or DB for Devin Bush. I think Bush had the better college career. Yes, Rashawn was the #1 overall recruit. Bush was more impactful. And in the NFL, I think Gary's going to go before Bush, but I'm not counting out Devin by any stretch of the imagination. Number 19, Montez Sweat. Drew a lot of buzz at the Senior Bowl. I've heard some top 10 buzz for Sweat. If he tests really well at the Combine, then I kind of buy it, but I still worry about his cornering and his bend. Good first step, but I don't think he's the world's fastest player, so just keep an eye out there for Sweat at number 19. Number 20, Byron Murphy. Concern for Pittsburgh. If Devin Bush, Byron Murphy, and Greedy Williams are off the board, are they going to reach for Mack Wilson? I don't know what Pittsburgh's going to do there. Now, Byron isn't normally the type of big guy, the size and speed guy Pittsburgh tends to like, but they have to just get a good cornerback. They have missed way too much in the NFL draft, namely in early rounds on secondary guys. That has got to change. So Byron Murphy, number 20 overall, that's really good value there for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and there you go. Quite a lot of impact defensive players there for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I like that one there for Pittsburgh. You get a guy like Byron Murphy, that's a really, really good fit for them. Cleveland Furrow to the Panthers, a lot of defensive players off the board. Let's recap then my top 20 picks here. Nick Bosa, Josh Allen, Haskins, Quinnen, and Kyler Murray. Trades aplenty. At me on Twitter, at WhatGoingDowney if you don't like them. Drew Lock, number 6. More trades. Sorry, Broncos fans. Flacco ain't it. Rashawn Gary, number 7. Brian Burns at 8. Jonah at 9. Cody Ford at number 10. Number 11, Devin White. Number 12, TJ Hawkinson. Number 13, Ed Oliver. 3 guys that might end up being in the top 10 on my big board outside the top 10. Jawan Taylor, number 14. Ja'Kai Polite, number 15. Cleveland Furrow, number 16. Greedy Williams at number 17. Devin Bush at 18. Montez Sweat goes number 19. And Byron Murphy goes number 20. To number 21 we go. Nasir Adderley, a rare single-high free safety. I finished up my tape eval of him. Gotta be honest, I wasn't as impressed as I thought I was going to be. There's some bad angles there. He's rangy, he's still a little raw. I think he's worth a late first-round pick. Seattle has to replace Earl Thomas. I know that they drafted some guys in recent years, Delano Hill and Thompson out of Colorado. But I always have a tough feel for Seattle because Seattle makes weird picks. Remember last year, Rashad Penny? Has not worked out so far, though, of course, it's only just been the one round. So what team will make the most confusing first-round pick? Let me know what you think. You can go look at my Twitter profile at WhatGoingDowney. It's still the face I made when the Seahawks picked Rashad Penny. And then the Steelers followed it up by taking Tremaine Edmonds, which was a terrible pick as well. Just NFL teams do some weird stuff sometimes. Let's move it along, though. Number 22, DK Metcalf, who, by the way, is jacked. But he's kind of bordering on LaRon Landry to go further back and fit a better player. David Boston territory, where is he actually too big? I kind of worry about that a little bit. The neck injury limited him, has not impacted his physique at all. He is a classic size-speed combo that NFL teams love. The production was not great, But if you want a big X-type receiver, DK Metcalf is your guy. He's my number 1 receiver this year. Now, Texans have the number 23 overall pick, but again, we traded it away for the number 14 overall pick. So Atlanta slides down. Let's get them a defensive lineman. They need some more help there, and I love Christian Wilkins. Super high character, super intelligent, graduated Clemson in under 3 years. That's pretty impressive, right? Like, that's very, very impressive there for the Atlanta Falcons. That's a big, big move for them to move up or trade on and get an impact player like Wilkins, who's going to be a very, very good player. So Raiders-Cardinals. Again, the Cardinals, remember, they traded down to get an extra first-round pick back. Raiders got number 1, Nick Bosa. At number 24, let's give them Andre Dillard, a left tackle type. Arizona, if you want to make Josh Rosen work, you got to protect him. And it wasn't all the Cardinals' fault, because by the end of the year, they were playing 5 non-starters on the offensive line. Every single one of their starters, protected guys, got hurt. Rosen didn't have a chance. Get them Andre Dillard, who's a little bit more like Colton Miller. I think he's going to test well at the NFL Combine, but I still think he needs some development overall. I think that's a big thing there for the Arizona Cardinals, to get them some added help, find them a player that can actually protect Josh Rosen. I will not be surprised if in the end, Andre Dillard is one of those pre-draft risers that move up a little bit higher, maybe even in the top 15. Speaking of raw athletic types, how about Greg Little? Now, I thought about D-line here for Philadelphia, but Jason Peters' long-term future is in doubt. I don't know if Big V's a reliable option. Let's give them Greg Little, who, yes, is raw, but can become the type of tackle that NFL teams love. And he is the type of player that NFL teams think, oh, we can coach him up. We're going to make him great. And unfortunately, that's how busts end up happening. But for Philadelphia, give him a year to sit behind Jason Peters. Actually could end up working out very well for Philadelphia. Keep moving here to number 26 overall, the Indianapolis Colts. Behind T.Y. Hilton, they don't really have all that much. And I think Kelvin Harmon, if he tests well, could sneak into round 1 this year. A lesser version in terms of the size-speed combo of DK Metcalf, but better production than Metcalf had. By the way, I'll shout out DeAndre Baker, a perfect fit for the Colts scheme, but I don't know if the Colts would actually pull the trigger on a round 1 cornerback. That's not their typical MO with their front office and coaching staff. Today's show is brought to you by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code LIVE120 for a 120% deposit bonus. You put down $50, they're going to give you $60 for free. Put down $100, it becomes $120. It's the best betting deal out there. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code LIVE120. Now, this pick was going to be, by the way, Marquise Brown. Then it came out that he has a Lisfranc injury. That doesn't make as much sense there. Instead, let's give him N'Keal Harry. I kind of worry about his speed. How well is he going to measure in the 3-cone drill, the 40 time? He's got some decent long speed, but I don't think he's going to be a freak athlete necessarily. Now, great size and impressive after the catch ability. Raiders need a #1 receiver. Harry could be that type of guy. I think he's going to be more of a high-end #2, but that's kind of the MO with this year's class. A lot of guys that are going to make impacts at wide receiver. So who is the best wideout in this year's class? Let me know who you like in the comments section. I kind of gave mine away in DK Metcalf, but stay tuned after the Combine. We'll do some positional rankings, including wide receiver here on the channel, so make sure you're subscribed. Number 28, Jerry Tillery. Chargers need an impact defensive tackle. The upside is there. I wouldn't mind a linebacker here either for LA. I think Tillery will go off the board before a guy like Dexter Lawrence, because Lawrence, he just doesn't bring you much in the pass rush side of things. Number 29, the Chiefs, Mack Wilson. The linebacking core, it didn't work this year. Reggie Ragland regressed. Anthony Hitchens had a lot of tackles, but they weren't necessarily high-impact tackles. Those can be a bit deceptive. Mack Wilson, better in coverage, can be a 3-down linebacker. I know they drafted the kid Dorian O'Dan, too. I think he's more of a special teams guy. You got to find some impact in the back 7 for Kansas City. Mack Wilson, I think, makes sense. Don't be triggered, Packers fans, okay? I know you see Alabama safety and you think, oh my God, it's Ha-Ha Clinton Dix again. How dare you? Deontay Thompson, I don't think, though, is Clinton Dix. Now, he offers true single-high free safety ability. My biggest fear with Thompson, which safety are you getting? Are you getting the first couple game guy this year where he looked like a top 5, top 10 player? Or we're going to get kind of late end Thompson, who I would swear was injured. He was just so slow to react versus what we saw in the past. You're hoping for more of the early season stuff. The flashes are there. Makes him worthwhile as a late round pick investment. So for the Packers, you got T.J. Hawkinson earlier. Now you get your safety. You can focus on edge later. Plus, we know that the scheme that the DC runs isn't quite as important for edge guys, although in terms of value, but they can still get somebody else there. So watch out for edge as well for the Green Bay Packers. But I like the idea there of Thompson, Mack Wilson as 2 late first-round picks out of Alabama. As I always do, guys, I'm wearing a Mizzen and Main shirt. Go check them out. Comfortable.af is the site. And that URL does indeed check out. You guys are not going to find a more comfortable shirt, heck, any shirt, be it dress or otherwise, than a Mizzen and Main one. That is a big, big deal there. So go check them out, comfortable.af. Now we do have, folks, one more trade left for you guys. It's going to be the New York Giants. They slide up to number 31 overall. Remember, they traded down earlier. Now they got extra picks to play with, so of course they go with their second-round pick. They also throw a fourth-round pick to the Rams. They go get their quarterback. And Giants fans, I'm sorry. I kind of did you dirty here. I'll be honest, because I don't like Daniel Jones. NFL teams are going to like him more. But why would you want a limited production quarterback whose arm is not very great, is good in the short area of the field, but the deep ball didn't exist for Duke? In part because Jones couldn't throw it very well, and the receivers dropped it when he actually did. So, with that said, Daniel Jones does kind of fit the Bill Parcells rules for quarterback. Maybe the Giants still kind of subscribe to those. I think you'll see Daniel Jones go round 1. I just wouldn't advise it. I don't think he's going to be anything more than an average game manager in the NFL. So the Patriots then are last first-round picks. Stay tuned, though, for some second-rounders. Noah Fant goes number 32 overall. I think he's going to go earlier. I think you might see a team move up for him, but I didn't have a good feel for a projection there. So Noah Fant goes number 32. Patriots get their athletic move tight end. I would not be surprised if both Iowa tight ends ended up being top 20 picks. How crazy is that, right? So we mentioned the Rams trade. I wanted to give them their pick, though. DeAndre Baker, number 37 overall. I'll cheat if I'd kept him at 31. I would have given the Rams Baker. I worry about his speed. That's the big red flag for me, but he's certainly an aggressive corner. You're going to like him if your team ends up drafting him. Some second-round picks as well. Cowboys, we did not forget about you. My boy, Andy Isabella. Yes, he's undersized, but he's fast. For small school prospects, I put added emphasis on the big games. That's his stat line from Georgia. 15 catches, 219, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, I want that guy on my team. He is fast as all get out. And then maybe the best name in this year's draft, number 62 overall, Rock Ya-Sin, the cornerback from Temple, who I think kind of goes in that late round 2, early round 3 range. I love Rock Ya-Sin's name. A good player as well. The Saints, they could still use some cornerback help. Let's recap my 2019 NFL mock draft with trades, by the way. Nick Bosa goes number 1 overall in a trade up. Josh Allen goes number 2. Dwayne Haskins number 3 in a move up for a quarterback. Historically, the first quarterback off the board, if it's not number 1 overall, is taken via a trade, by the way. Almost always. Number 4, Quinnen Williams. Great value there for Arizona. Kyler Murray goes number 5. Drew Lock goes number 6. I'm sorry for triggering Broncos and Redskins fans, but you need a quarterback. Rashawn Gary goes number 7. Brian Burns goes number 8. Jonah Williams goes number 9. Cody Ford goes number 10. Don't worry, Giants. I'll get you your quarterback later. Devin White goes number 11. Hawkinson goes number 12. Ed Oliver goes number 13. Jawan Taylor, 14 in a trade-up for the Houston Texans. Ja'Kai Polite goes number 15. Then another edge, Clelin Ferrell goes number 16. Some nice value picks here after this pick. Greedy goes number 17. Devin Bush to the Vikings. Montez Sweat to the Titans. Byron Murphy to Pittsburgh. And then Nasir Adderley goes number 21. DK Metcalf becomes Lamar Jackson's new best friend. Christian Wilkins provides some added interior depth for the Falcons. Andre Dillard will hopefully not let Josh Rosen die behind the offensive line. Greg Little goes number 25. A little run on receivers then, too. Kelvin Harmon, N'Keal Harry. Jerry Tillery goes number 28. Mack Wilson goes number 29. Deontay Thompson goes number 30. Number 31, Daniel Jones, and trade up with the Giants there. Noah Fant, number 32. And then the non-first round picks I'll project. DeAndre Baker to the Rams, Andy Isabella to the Cowboys, and Rock Ya-Sin, the fantastic name, to the New Orleans Saints. So I made my trades, but I want to hear yours. What are your best NFL draft trade proposal or proposals? Let me know in the comments section what trades you want to see on Draft and Rec, maybe even just before the NFL draft begins.